Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of The Sweet Spot. This is your host, Ryan Embry, for another AHLA Industry Check-In, this time with a familiar guest, Kevin Carey. Familiar guest, but a little bit different position. We're going to talk about that in a second, but he is the Chief Operating Officer at AHLA and President and CEO of the AHLA Foundation. Kevin, welcome back to The Sweet Spot.
Ryan, terrific to be with you again.
Yeah, it's great to have you. Like I said, you've been on a couple times. We've talked about that, but this time in a new role with AHLA. Congratulations, by the way, on that. Can you share with our audience a little bit about the new role, maybe a day-to-day and what you get the pleasure of doing every single day as President and CEO of the AHLA Foundation?
Well, I'd be happy to. It's definitely keeping me busy, but it's a good busy and very much a rewarding busy as well. And in my new capacity, where I get to lead the foundation, I get to work alongside a dedicated group of colleagues, from Jen, Eliza, Kara, and Lindsay, to also a committed group of industry leaders who are on our board of trustees. And the organization that we help to advance is one that's focused just on that front, on advancing the people of the industry, our workforce. So day in, day out, having that teamwork and collaboration, but also working with our industry leaders to put the people forward on the industry front and to work to support not only our current employees, but also to identify the future workforce is a vital role and very engaging.
So critical right now. You're right. We've had conversations about it. We're going to touch a little bit on this episode, but I see AHLA Foundation all the time, the work, the stories that you guys are putting out there. You travel the country. You just got back from the lodging conference a couple days ago. But for those hoteliers who, see the brand, they see some of the stories, can you share maybe some of the origin story of the AHLA Foundation and really at the foundation, so to speak, of its mission over there?
I'd be happy to. The foundation has been around for 72 years. It was founded in 1953 as a scholarship fund, and over that tenure and arc of its existence has done terrific work. What I've also shared recently, as we've been working through a process with our board of trustees as looking at our future direction and plan, is that in many respects, this is a young 72-year-old organization. And by that, I mean a number of the most prominent and highly visible initiatives that the foundation is involved in right now, whether it's our Forward initiative or No Room for Trafficking. These are programs and initiatives that have really been created, launched, and grown over about the last 3 to 5 years time frame. So while we've got a proud tradition and history, we also have a number of very important new initiatives, and the work we're doing to advance the industry's workforce and to ensure the people are front and center is really vital in the current environment as we think about the industry's future growth prospects.
Well, it's incredible legacy, and to be able to, that's what you want out of advocacy and foundational work is you want to be able to say we're introducing new initiatives, strategies. The AHLA tackles so many important issues, but perhaps none more important than human trafficking prevention. Something that a lot of the brands have taken major steps to get behind. You recently held your No Room for Trafficking Summit, an event dedicated to that. Tell us about that event and some of the feedback that you were hearing from hotelier on this really critical issue.
Yeah, let me put that initiative in the context of our role and mission overall. So as I talked about with being that young 72-year-old organization, we really view our mission in advancing the workforce as being centered around how do we develop and support the current workforce today, the 2.1 million people who serve guests and work together to create that experience. The future workforce is being so important to ensure that over time we're attracting people to the industry and they know the career pathways that are available. But a third area, and this aligns with the No Room for Trafficking initiative, how can we leverage our role as a convening entity for the industry, bringing together all segments of the industry, including the service provider and supplier segment, to focus on initiatives industry-wide where we can make a difference. And in that respect, that's where No Room for Trafficking fits in. And it really underscores the industry's longstanding commitment to working to eradicate human trafficking. We created the No Room for Trafficking initiative in 2019 with a focus on bringing training to the industry. So our employees on the front lines, vendors and suppliers as well, could see the signs and help provide that front line and bring awareness to this issue. We also in 2022 created the Survivor Fund so we could help provide funding, meaningful contributions to local community-based organizations to help assist survivors of human trafficking get back on their feet and ideally create an opportunity for employment in the industry as well. So this is an issue that our work is not done. We're reaffirming our commitment to this. We're aligning the work the brands do around this area with owners and management companies as well. And you're going to continue to see us in this area leaning in on this important issue.
So powerful. And, I've had the privilege of attending the hospitality show, which we're going to touch on here for the last couple of years, and to hear some of the inspiring and moving stories from that initiative. And it's, again, so powerful to see common cause like this, where all the brands are really trying to get involved, vendors and the like. We really need the entire industry to really team up against an issue like this. It
Couldn't
cannot
agree
be
more.
siloed. Yeah.
It's obviously a global issue. It's not unique to the lodging industry, but the lodging industry's leadership in this area, the industry-wide commitment to playing a meaningful role in this respect. And to your point, Ryan, the individual stories. Just about a week ago, Eliza and I attended an event at the University of Maryland, Baltimore Safe Center, which is an organization that's providing critical services to survivors of human trafficking. And to hear one of the program participants, a survivor herself, to tell her individual story and how she's now thriving and shows the strength to share her own experience, but also serves as someone who is such a role model for others who are impacted by this area. So through the Survivor Fund, we've now contributed close to $2.4 million in grants to community-based organizations to help them provide these surround support services to survivors. And we're very proud of this work and the impact it's having and our continued commitment to it.
That's an incredible figure. Congratulations to you and your team. And, so happy to hear that so many people are contributing to this. Now, another key initiative you touched on was the foundation really leading in its advancement of women in hospitality through its Forward program. I've had the honor of having several hospitality female leaders and influencers in the hotel industry, incredible, who have mentioned this program. Can you share some of the details of this initiative and the impacts that you're seeing?
Be happy to. Forward really is a movement. We're so proud of the growth that we've seen and the engagement since its launch as a conference alone in 2018. But now the initiative has expanded from an event and a conference that we convene annually to leadership development through our Build and Elevate program, and as well through the community building aspects through a network we've established that has close to 5,000 participants, mostly women, but also men who are engaged in this initiative and want to play a role in helping women to advance in the industry. So across each of those three categories, the conference and event, the leadership development, and the community building aspect of this, Forward continues to grow through awareness, engagement, and we're excited as we look ahead to 2026 to host our event again in Atlanta, Georgia, April 16 and 17. So please mark your calendars.
Yes, we will. It's so awesome to see, movements like that, like you mentioned, Kevin, because it's something that, organically starts to, through the community and network starts to build. And then you put an event like that forward conference that happens in the spring, and you can just see the energy and, something that hospitality is really needed for us. We talked about the staffing shortage, through these times a couple of years ago, and really inspiring, all walks of life, even especially young people to see hospitality as more than maybe just a summer job at college, but a career path that they can go down. And I saw recently, I want to make sure I get this figure right, the AHLA Foundation awarded more than $700,000 in academic scholarships to almost 246 students nationwide. The sweet spot has a soft spot for those college graduate. I'm a UCF Rosen graduate. We did our hospitality campus crawl series where we visited different hospitality schools in the state of Florida. What is this accomplishment when you hear that figure, 700,000, almost 250 students mean to you and your team?
Well, first, a major thank you to our generous contributors over time who've provided funds, who really see this as an investment in the future of the industry. So we wouldn't be able to distribute the scholarship dollars and see that the impact that they're having without our generous sponsors and contributors over time. And interestingly, right now is a unique period where we're starting to get notes and emails back from some of the recipients of these scholarship funds, and just the deep impact and the personal impact that it has on so many. And thank so many of the students for sharing what this means for them and their ability to advance their studies and advance their careers in this industry. But this is an important aspect of our focus around ensuring we have the future workforce to help enable and support the industry to thrive. So whether it's a focus on our affiliated schools and the 2 and the 4-year community, also looking to expand our focus. You referenced the career pathways, Ryan. It's vital that not only students but prospective future employees just understand the breadth of roles, opportunities, and access that this industry provides, and what an attractive opportunity for career advancement and growth that the hospitality and the lodging industry represents. So we're thrilled with the scholarship aspect. Such a rewarding time of year to see some of those individual impacts it's having, but know that we've got a big responsibility as we look to the next 5 and 10 years to be working on initiatives that can ensure that the industry has the people in place to deliver that hospitality and to help be an enabler of future growth.
Absolutely. It's as me and Kevin, it's an amazing industry. The more we can, be transparent, show these success stories, and, more hospitality leaders I can host on the podcast that said, hey, you know what? I got a scholarship from the AHLA Foundation and went through a hospitality specific, course of education. I think we're doing our job there because, right now it's, staffing continues to be a challenge, but I think more than ever, there's so many incredible, inspiring stories out there that have such a love for hospitality, and it's such a unique industry.
We had the
Yeah.
opportunity, Ryan. Just you referenced the lodging conference to host some students while in Phoenix. We had students from Howard University and Bethune-Cookman. Many were pure play hospitality students. Others were in the business school, but were looking at and considering the hospitality industry. But the diversity of fields of study that they were coming from legal to finance to sales and marketing, but their eyes were opened about the unique qualities and attributes of lodging in the hospitality industry. And it was terrific to see their eyes opened and the enthusiasm that they were going to carry back to them. And I said, you can grow your career here in a meaningful way, and from the entry level to the senior most levels, but tell your peers and friends as well, because we want to ensure that people understand the opportunity that this industry represents.
Yeah, absolutely. Great point, Kevin. I mean, hospitality conferences, there's so many events that happen, locally and nationwide. The hospitality show that AHLA does in their regional events, great exposure. If you're a young professional, highly, highly encourage you to go visit those, network, talk to industry professionals who've made a career out of it, because this can just only develop you professionally throughout your career. And mentorship, we've talked about that. That's one of my favorite questions to ask. And sometimes it comes up organically when I ask about people's backgrounds in hospitality, is they'll mention one or two names that were really strong mentors to them in their hospitality journey, which led them to where they were. And, the AHLA runs a leadership mentoring program. you know, I think sometimes people are intimidated sometimes when they hear that word mentor, right?
Right,
And so
right.
I would almost ask you, what would be your pitch to any hotel leader or hospitality professional to be really embrace mentorship, whether that's, a formal program like the one that you offer at the AHLA Foundation, or simply just by guiding the next generation?
You mentioned, I think both of us used the word access, whether that's the opportunity that the industry presents, but also how so many hospitality leaders in our industry make themselves accessible. Just back to the reference I made to the students we hosted in Phoenix. I saw our chair, Mitch Patel, and a chair of our foundation, a new Saxena with Hilton Supply Management, spending time with the students and having conversations, providing their LinkedIn credentials, probably their cell phone numbers as well. So mentorship can take a quick, it could be an individual interaction, or it can be a more formal process over time, but it's so essential. A plug, maybe an industry friend and someone who just authored a book on this called Who Believed in You by Dina Powell McCormick and her husband, David McCormick, who's the U.S. Senator from Pennsylvania. Just an outstanding book that talks about the power of mentorship and the role it's played in so many individuals' careers and lives. And this industry really responds to that call as well. Our own mentorship program, we've got 30% more in participants than we set as a target. And that's linking together industry leaders with emerging professionals in the industry who are available to share their lessons learned and provide guidance so people can have that access to industry leaders. So we're thrilled with the role we play as a facilitator and an enabler in that regard.
Yeah, and mentorship can come in all different types of forms. I mean, you mentioned it, even responding to a simple LinkedIn message, telling your story, sharing that story. A lot of the times, that's what I find so inspiring in hospitality is, talking to a professional that's been doing it for a decade, 2 decades, maybe you've even made a 30-year career out of hospitality, and how transferable their skills is, where they've been able to, go all over the world, travel, and, and have that career that they're so proud of. So mentorship can really come all shapes and forms. But I think some of those most powerful ones are just sharing your story sometimes. And, one of the places we get the opportunity to hear those stories is the GM of the Year Awards at the hospitality show. We'll both be headed out to, Denver. We ran into each other and at the opening ceremony in San Antonio at the de los Muertos
Yes,
themed
we were.
party, right? What's your favorite part of the hospitality show, and what are you most looking forward to this year?
What's always best about that, and that really aligns with the role AHLA plays of bringing the entire industry together. There are a number of conferences. We attend them. They're terrific, but they may be focused on a particular function in the industry or objective. Bringing the entire industry together, from the brand companies to independent hotels to management companies, owners, all forms and industry verticals of suppliers as well, students, GMs, having the entire cross-section of the industry ecosystem together and in one place with a common focus on the purpose of the show, which is how do you leverage technology and operations to drive profitability. So it's just great to have everyone together. We're always going to be strongest as an industry when we're working together, and being able to, through our roles at the AHLA and the AHLA Foundation, play that convening entity role with our partners at QuestX, is really just a terrific opportunity. And we're looking forward in 2 weeks to being out in Denver.
Yeah, it's a attend event. We're so excited to be headed there once again. We both love our industry, but it certainly is. It's one of the most complex as well. There's so many elements to it, which also make it so beautiful. And what we talked about how people can find different careers in any shape, size, or form in hospitality, because there are so many different elements that you're exposed to, which makes for a great show like the Hospitality Show, which hosts so many aspects and insights from that show. So we're excited to be there. Hopefully we'll get to run into you, Kevin, and
Look
get
forward
some
to it.
get some on-site thoughts there. But for hotels listening, always like to provide resources, education for the listeners if they're looking to get more information about or even get involved with the AHLA Foundation in some capacity. What's the best way to do that, that you can share today?
There's so many avenues of engagement for AHLA as a whole, but the foundation in particular. We've referenced a number of them through our events like Forward and the No Room for Trafficking Summit, through the work that we do to support current workforce through apprentice programs, and to engage with prospective future employers. So we welcome that participation and engagement in so many forums. Beyond the upcoming hospitality show in Denver, we'll be turning our attention to our annual Night of 1,000 Stars event, which will recognize the top employees across a number of areas in the industry. So please certainly visit our website, reach out to me directly and or our team. Everyone who's got an interest in helping to advance our people and cast that spotlight on the industry and help play a meaningful role in attracting the future workforce for the industry. We've got an interest in working with you and a place for you in one of our programs or initiatives.
Awesome. Well, again, incredible gratitude and thanks for everything, that you and AHLA and the foundation does for our industry. So important. We'll wrap up the same way we like to wrap up every episode, kind of looking into the future. What are you most looking forward to for the rest of this year? And, before we know it's already going to be 2026. So what are you excited for next year going into for the AHLA Foundation?
Yeah, I'm really excited for the future direction. As I referenced, we've spent a lot of time this year looking meaningfully at our portfolio of initiatives, working closely with our leadership in our board to ensure that we've got the right portfolio of initiatives, and how can we expand those to have that right impact on supporting the current employees and attracting the future workforce, and again, where we can play that convening entity role and make a meaningful difference in human trafficking prevention and advancing women in hospitality. So you're going to hear more from us on all those fronts, and with our terrific team and my colleagues, look forward to having more discussion with you over time.
Yeah, we're ready for it. Ears and eyes are ready to go. And like you said, it's got a legacy of a foundation, but still young in its roots and some of the major initiatives you're doing. So thank you again. Any final thoughts as we wrap up today? We covered a lot.
We certainly did. Thank you for the opportunity. I know I send greetings from my colleague Rosanna, who leads AHLA overall, and we're working closely together on through both entities to really advance the industry and also to support and advance the people and the workforce of the industry. So we like to say that we're two entities, but one enterprise working together to really make this industry a special place, and appreciate your efforts and others who give us a platform to share that.
Well, thank you, Kevin. We know your time is very precious with all the initiatives and, traveling you're doing. So appreciate you taking time out of your day to talk to us here on the Sweet Spot. Thank you again for all the work you're doing over there.
Thank you so much. Thanks,
All
Ryan.
right. Thank you. And we'll talk to you next time on the Sweet Spot.